Hey guys, welcome back to Infidelity Stories. Make sure like and subscribe to the channel for more spicy stories. Now, let's get into story video.
Wife cheats on her husband, abuses their children and lies on court. Enjoy not having your kids anymore. Good day, you know the deal, English not first language, mobile yada yada, it's also my first post so be gentle please. For cast we have, mom, empty human, sister, me, and my dad. I have no concrete dialogue for this story since it happened about 4 years ago, and I pretty much want to forget about it. Now, some background, my mother is not exactly the best person in the world. She used to abuse me and both physically and mentally, mostly mentally, avoid responsibilities at home, and she also decided to cheat on my dad with several men around 13 years ago, and never stopped. When my father discovered this, he simply stopped sleeping in the same room and stopped being affectionate towards her. He stayed with her for us, and decided to raise us basically alone since mom was always outside with her partners. My mother used to simply arrive home to eat, sleep, and hurt me or my the rest of the day she claimed to be working overtime. However, all the money she made was kept away for herself, and my father had to do real overtime to take care of us, and he was tired of not getting any help. Here is where my dad's revenge plan starts. He stayed quiet for a long time, managing work and parenting very well, but in the meantime, he was collecting all the evidence he could about my mom cheating as well as evidence of abuse towards and he also kept supporting us, teaching us how to stand up for ourselves and each other, helping us understand how bad mom's behavior was and we don't need to justify her bad treatment just for being out mother. He kept being the best person he could for about 10 years until and I were old enough to testify in court. Then he immediately asked for divorce, and got it very easily since mom kept lying about how he was abusing me and my children, but, of course, he had proof of her cheating and being the abuser, so they got divorced, but the plan didn't end there, since he wanted us to live with him. My dad left our house immediately after the divorce and 2 weeks later I moved with him. My sister stayed with mom. Let's skip some months until the court date to discuss the kids' custody. About 6 months prior, my mother lied about me living with her so she could get that sweet child support check, but when the court date arrived, and me testified against her, explained how bad of a mother she was etc., and I said that I had been living with my dad for months, contrary to what my mother has said. Of course she wanted to play the victim with lies, which we refuted. The judge was not having it, and told her that she needed to stop lying because she was being fined for lying to a judicial authority. Of course she lost our custody and she was forced to return the child support money to us. Now she lives alone and sometimes tries to play the forgive me, I know I did wrong card with us only to ask for money right after, but none of us want to see her again. Not exactly a massive, sweet and evil revenge, but after I told my dad about this he told me I should post the story. I hope it actually belongs here. The child support thing, in my country, when parents divorce, it's the other parent who gives the money to the one with custody of the children. We call that money child support, but in this case where both parents have only one children at their care, they get nothing from each other. My mom said she had both of us to get money from my dad, but that was a lie. Edit. This post is still small but I'm reading the comments to my father and he loves all the support. He is really happy with you guys. Thanks a lot for that. Story 2. D-Day was 4 days ago, confused, and lost. We were happy for many years, high school sweethearts who moved on to and got through college together, moved states, and got an apartment. However, after we got engaged, COVID hit, and her mental state took a turn for the worse. Wound up finding out that she had been s-ing another man, just messages on Discord as far as I could tell, no pictures or anything, but I gave her another chance and things got so much better over the next year and a half. We ended up committing to the relationship and got married, both our parents shelling out a lot of money for the wedding, especially for her own parents' poor financial situation. Things were great, it was the best day of my life as far as I knew. However, the vows we read together in that hotel room turned out to be nothing but lies, as 6 months later we're working through a dissolution. After having suspicions for some time, I got into a public Discord server she frequented and noticed how she talked with another guy on there. In the morning, I confronted her, and it turns out she started private messaging him 3 months after the marriage, pretending to be excited for our future, choosing kid names with me, all while this was going on. She even bragged about our relationship and how much I do for her in that server throughout all this. Turned out to be pictures this time as well, and I decided I'd leave for our home state to think about things, saying we'd call it a break. She left so I could pack, and went right to this man's house, not knowing who he really was, and totally unwilling to even hold out hope we could work through things. Found out through a picture he posted in the server of them in bed together, bragging about his conquest. Her decision was made, so I told her it was over. My sister drove 3 hours to help me get out of there with my things, and I've been at my parents' ever since, trying to survive while working with her on a dissolution. In hindsight, she wasn't the person I fell in love with for a long time, and I just wasn't being honest with myself. None of her explanations made sense, and she ultimately admitted she was just broken and I needed to get away because she'll just hurt me again. I honestly don't think she knows why she did it. She has a history of mental illness and needs help, and I still love and worry about her, but it can't be my problem anymore. I know she thinks she loves me, but as I told her, love is shown in your actions, and hers were those of a user. She even said her plans were to hold out hope our petty problems would work themselves out and she could go back to being loyal. At the very least there's no kids involved, and she recognizes her fault and is being amicable when it comes to the dissolution so far, giving me more than I'm frankly entitled to. Right now I'm trying to just power through the legal SHT and get her out of my life so I can move on. I've got a lot of support on my side unlike her, but communicating every day isn't easy, and I haven't even begun to think of a life after her. I mean, we made so many plans and up until a couple days ago that was going to be the rest of my life. Just feel totally used and embarrassed for everyone else who was taken advantage by her, but it's been helping to mourn the person she used to be rather than try to understand the motivations of an ill cheater. She's been my only partner though, and I don't know the first thing about dating, so the future terrifies me, but I'm really trying to keep myself together and maybe use this as an opportunity to reinvent myself. I just don't know toward what, as that future we had was my only motivation for so long. Anyway, I'd appreciate some advice here, especially if y'all have been through it. TL/DR, wife, 27 female, and I, 27 male, have been together for 11 years this January, since high school, and married for 6 months. She cheated again, this time messaging with pictures, and then physically after confronted. Our dissolution has been amicable so far, but I don't know where to go after this.